join me in prayer, and then we'll stand for the pledge. Lord, thank you for this morning, and thank you for the reports we're about ready to hear, and thank you for those who prepared those, Lord, as they fulfill responsibilities here at the county to help maintain the facility, answer the call from citizens in distress, and be prepared when we have emergencies, Lord. And we're just grateful for the men that are willing to do that and so well, and the staff that supports them in those endeavors, and the citizens that they serve. Lord, as we come up on our nation's birthday, Lord, it is another reminder that we really don't need, but it's a reminder, Lord, that freedoms aren't free. There have been many throughout our nation's history that have served this nation with bravery and courage, and some have made the ultimate sacrifice that enables us to be here this morning to conduct this meeting and enjoy the freedoms that we do. So I just lift up our military, our men and women who are serving internationally and domestically, and just ask that you put your hand upon them. And as we celebrate our nation's birthday this week, Lord, let's just be grateful that we have that ability to do so. May everything we do this morning honor your name, and we just ask all this in your Son's name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, first order of business will be approval of minutes for June 24th. If you got a chance to review those, I will entertain a motion.
I make a motion to approve the minutes for June 24th as written.
I'll second.
Have a motion second to approve the minutes as presented. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Minutes approved. Next, we have our monthly updates from our department heads, and James will start with you and give us an update on 911 operations.
Good morning. So for the month of June, dispatch logged over 4,849 events. Total of 10 categories account for 62% of the events. So looking at the numbers, we responded to over 143 various alarm calls. Animal control addressed 228 different calls for service. Law enforcement provided over 228 calls for assist citizens or motorists. Responded to 139 different disturbances. We called EMS services for the county 378 times. That's about 12 calls per day on average. We responded to 189 motor vehicle accidents. Law enforcement conducted over 842 targeted patrols. Responded to over 158 suspicious activities, persons, or events. 544 traffic events. And that includes everything from just various traffic complaints, traffic roadway hazards, or traffic stops. Law enforcement conducted over 138 well checks throughout the county, totaling 3,003 calls of the 4,849 that we logged. No real changes to our current manning structure. We started going after some of the, targeting some of those with higher comp times, getting them cut out and starting to reduce those balances. We also attended the tip-top exercise with OEM down in Pulaski County. We took quite a few best practices away, and as a result of that event, we identified an area that we could improve our communication between dispatch, 911 services, and OEM during disaster storm-related events. So we actually are starting to have web EOC access in the dispatch center, and that just allows us to take what we're seeing and put it into the systems that OEM both at the county and the state use to also seeking emergencies or, the emergencies that are going on. So just it makes it easier for us to communicate without having to pick up a cell phone or jump on the radio when we're already busy. We can just cut and paste stuff into there and they can see it, so. And I think we're one of the first 911 centers to do so. in the
We are
state.
the first.
And what was that called, James?
It's called WebEOC. It's
Web
think of-
EOC, okay.
It's free, provided for by the state.
Okay.
And then if, short description is, if he starts an event for Laclede County, I and the supervisors can go in and see that event, and it's just like a Teams page almost, is the best descriptor, if you've never seen it. We can be dropping what we're seeing, so you can see, hey, we're tracking these down power lines, these flooded roads, and then OEM, as they're looking to figure out what resources they need to address, they're getting those statuses where we're identifying the critical need, so he can address resources. Because right now, we literally have to call on the phone while we're also answering phone calls and dealing with the radio. So it's a little bit running in the background, makes it a little bit easier and quicker, so. We also hosted, forgot to put this part in too, we also had, National Weather Service from Springfield come down. They're working with us to update, items in our CAD. So that way when we have weather related events, or we activate storm spotters and we get reports, as we log those, as we already do, a program will, part of the CAD will then send that information to the weather service so they can be updating their alerts, both from radar and then getting real-time information on the ground from storm spotters. A few of the other counties, Dallas County, Webster County, already do this, so we coordinated with them. They're helping us get that set up so we can duplicate that effort to help improve their services too. And then this afternoon at 1 p.m., we are still planning on hosting that next gen 911 presentation for those that are.
Where's that gonna be at?
Just the conference room upstairs where we do the.
And that's at 1
At 1 p.m.
today.
Mhm.
Are either one of you gentlemen gonna wanna be there?
I'm probably not going to be there, not because I don't want to.
Could be a possibility that could.
Okay, then what we'll do is we'll continue our meeting, in case that, 2 commissioners are there, we won't violate the sunshine law. So I will be there, thank you for the reminder. And so for the media, for everyone in the room, once we recess from this meeting, then we will stay in session, and, should both of us be up there. So just be aware of that, okay?
I have nothing else unless anybody's got
Any questions for James?
I believe so.
Are we, staffing? Looks like we've made some progress,
We're still not 9 of the 12 dispatchers. And we're still good on our supervisors. Everybody's training, a couple. All of our training is going as smoothly as we can be processing them through. We got a couple of trainings on nights that the night crew are helping assist with training. And then we still are doing some training during daytime operations, so.
good. Very good. James, I don't have anything else. You're, of course, welcome to stay, but I know you probably have things you'd like to do or need to do. And I will see you at 1 then, okay? All right. Randy, OEM, you're next.
Okay, so I want to elaborate a little bit on and back him up so you understand. This WebEOC deal that we brokered is potentially a big deal and will help the citizens and all the first responders, because basically they'll be inputting into WebEOC, and then we'll be verifying, and then that'll go straight up to the state. So that'll save us in our office 4 or 5 calls, to the state to give them the information. They'll already have it. Or if I produce it, it'll go straight to him, then it'll go to the state. So, that is a time-saving, unique tool that nobody had thought of trying until James did. And we will be the first in the state to try it. And I think it's probably gonna be a major asset, and I think at least all the other class 3 counties that are struggling with staffing like I am, you know, will find that a major plus. And then the National Weather Service, what he didn't mention was that will go immediately into the National Weather Service chat line. Also a big plus, because now I won't have to take the calls from Pulaski County. Hey, you know, what have you got? Is it headed our way? Blah, 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 blah. You know, the tracking will be put together by National Weather Service, as it should be, based on the real-time information and the real-time RPs that call in, reporting parties that call in to 911. So Weather Service can see that, you know, he has 16 calls from P-Berg Conway, you know, on power lines down, trees down, such as that. And Pulaski County will be able to see that, you know, rather than call and confirm, and, you know, that takes up a lot of time during an event to take those calls and to make those calls. And of course, Pulaski depends on Laclede for information. I mean, National Weather Service says, yeah, it's tracking this way, but, you know, we get real live calls on the cell phone that says, is it there? And how bad is it? So this will take the place of that, which is, it brings us all into a whole different scenario of an advisory, we'll call it, advisory reports. So, good job on both of those, appreciate it. I really don't have much to report, and I'm not requesting any money this week.
Hey,
This coming Wednesday will be 15 months in waiting, and we're gonna have a small gathering at the Bennett Spring Siren to congratulate all those involved, the 3 different companies involved, 911, the commission. There will be some folks here from the state. I don't know who yet. I believe that SEMA 1 will be here, the director of SEMA. And I believe that someone from the governor's office, chief of staff maybe, might be here. So I want to invite the commission, and we'll expect Randy to give a word or two next Wednesday. If you can be at the boat ramp at 9:45, then we'll fire that siren along with the other sirens at 10 a.m. And it shouldn't take very long. I'm gonna say 20 minutes. If you get there at 9:45, and then you can leave like 5 after 10, you know, Kerry, I'd like for you to make it if you could. And we'll have Dallas County Commissioner, Presiding Commissioner will contact Dallas County Presiding and invite them at least. The Dallas County EMD, which has my job over in Dallas County, will be here, and they're gonna bring, you know, a few of their people. So we'll do that next Wednesday, and if you wanna ride out with me, you can. We'll leave about 9:35, something like that. Other than that, the sirens, y'all, I'm sure watched KY3, and you know that by now that 20% of the sirens in Greene County are down, and about 10% of them are down due to damages. The other will get back up tomorrow probably, or the next day, because of electricity failure. Just know that majority of our sirens in Laclede County do not have battery backups. Some of them do, but not very many. So if we were to have a power failure, you know, we would not have our full effect of our sirens. So I'm in the process right now of, at least those in the county, trying to fix that. you know, talking to Jolie Barber, Gasconade. Now, the ones at the park, do have battery backup, the new ones. And the one, going into the park on the right-hand side has battery backup, but it's not working, just so you understand. And I don't know what the fix is gonna be there. But just know these are old, majority of them are old, and, some of them are almost old as I am, and that's really old. So, at some point, you know, we'll need to start a program of replacing some of those that are really old, if we can come up with somebody. And, right now, everything's working, 100%. The last test we ran, we were at 100%. Even Stout come in super strong, stronger than it's ever been, actually, because we did some things there. So, that's kind of where we stand on the storm sirens. Otherwise, we're going into a drought season within a couple weeks, I believe. And so our storms will start to kind of dwindle down. It's kind of a slow time for emergency management. So we take advantage of that, and that's when we get our trainings in and do all of our things, you know, to prepare us for the fall storms and everything else that's coming down. I think the mechanics of OEM are finally tweaked out to where, you know, everything is flowing like it's supposed to flow, as far as the radios and everything else. I don't anticipate any new money being needed. Moswin, which is the Missouri state system that was put in for the radio system throughout the state, you know, is changing. They're opening up another window of frequencies up here, and I don't know what that means to us right now. I do know that there's a possibility that within a year, the handheld radios that most law enforcement and fire carry might be obsolete. It might be that everything is done on a cell phone, and that is good, all digital, because that's a better service, you know, it's just a better product. And so as far as us putting money in handheld radios, which we need them bad, you know, ours are 14, 15 years old, and that's the newer ones. And the shelf life of those is about 5 years. So that just shows you that we take care of our stuff. But a lot of those are starting to go down. The screens on them are starting to dissolve. I mean, you know, they have a shelf life of 5 years basically. But I don't see a need to replace them at this time. There is some grant money going to be available, going to open up in August. And James and I are on top of that. And if we can tap that on 100% grant and get the firefighters in the county, you know, some handhelds, we're going to do it. But I'm not going to buy any for my office, because I think that eventually, sooner than later, you'll be using your cell phone. And that's just where it's going. And I think we're probably, what would you say, a year out on that maybe?
I don't know, I'm not sure. I think I can ask the question this afternoon.
Okay.
See if they've heard anything or what they're looking at.
Okay. I think that's all I have.
Would you like to sign this statement, I, Randy Rowe, am not requesting any new?
This week, I'll
Okay,
do that.
I forgot to read the fine print.
That's good, Jim. Next week, I'm not sure, but this week, I'm good.
I just want to make sure.
Okay.
He picked this week because it was a shorter one.
Yeah.
Short week.
All right, do we have any questions for Randy?
No, sir.
Okay, seeing none, Randy, thank you for that, and again, you're welcome to stay, if not, you're welcome to, take care of business as you see needs taken care of. With that, we will go to maintenance, and Mike, good morning,
Morning.
and we look forward to your update. What have you got for us?
We'll start with the building ceiling. They are done with that. They're supposed to be here Wednesday to replace that concrete that they cracked with that, heavy lift. So anyway, that's supposed to be on, their books for tomorrow. Ivy Roofing is doing the roof. We have identified a few leaks up there, so, making sure they hit those areas, as they show up, so we can kinda take care of that. They're about a third way done, up there, so I'm thinking if we have a couple days without rain, they'll probably be done by the end of the week, on that project. Over at the sheriff's office, we got the new countertops in, we got a little bit of paint, a little mopboard, but we're gonna build another little wall for them to, hide their evidence stuff so it looks nice and clean. Probably get started on that next week. Big one, the train unit over for 911. That, I think we were up to 19 calls on that already. So what we did on that last time is we just took 2 of those little alarms that constantly shut the machine down. They had to do with static pressure in the ductwork. Something just so fine and minute that it really doesn't affect the efficiency of the machine, it just tells it to shut down. So we removed a couple of those out of there. The machine has run for 5 days, this will be 6 days today, it's actually running, without me having to get up there and reset it, about every other morning. This might help the building balance out, because basically those 2 deals were just working against each other constantly. And then after they keep reading it for a few hours, it wants to shut the machine down. It's telling me it's got a problem in the ductwork, basically, the way I understand it. We have one of the little mini splits that are down over there, it's got a bad pump on it, that's under warranty too, so that should be here, maybe by the end of the week. It's in the back stairwell, back there. So hopefully, we'll keep that thing running longer than a few days, for a change. When we had the squirrel get into the power line out there at the transformer, we did find a problem with the generator setup. There was one more box that needed to be checked in that, that wasn't when they set that up, and it showed a battery, a low battery. It will not produce electricity with that alarm. So they came and they reworked on that and got that set back up, and we've tested it. It ran for 20 minutes. And I don't think you guys even noticed that it was running.
No.
So, but we did know that the battery backup worked, because it was down to what, an hour?
I think it was longer than that. So the good news story is, even though it was a problem, it inadvertently tested every single one of the functions. The dispatchers, everything was transparent. They had no idea that they weren't even on commercial power. The backup battery has, in our estimation, based on what it ran, if we had a complete power outage and the generator does not turn on, that battery will run all of our systems in dispatch for roughly 3 hours. We could probably extend it a little bit more if we are not running all 4 terminals and consuming power. And with the generator crew there, we were able to verify the load and consumption rate. So we came up with what is about 30 hours of runtime if we don't refill the fuel tank on the generator. So in a larger scenario, we're pretty, as long as those systems are up and running, we have quite a bit of backup capability. It gives us a chance to address concerns and then address resourcing. So, except for the air conditioning, everything else seems to be working that we're.
Well, you should have cool air in the conference room.
Yeah.
Because there was a VAV that was put up there that was obviously busted. So anyway, I don't know why they put it in there. You know, I got pictures of it. It was, you know, should have been tossed and started over with a new one. So anyway, that is pretty much, that on that train unit. We do got cold water and intake. They've been having hot water in both lines. We finally, found a valve that needed to be turned, I believe, and we got that too. We still got just a little bit of hot water running back into the cold water. And tracked it down, I'm pretty sure we got a 3-inch check valve up there. It's kinda hard to pinpoint it because, you know, you got hot water on this side, cold water on this side, and it stays warm. But it's probably the last place that is actually letting a little bit of backflow. G-Pod feels it the most because they're closest to where the water shoots into the jail up there. So we did get that figured out. Still waiting on my update on my 2 compressors that are supposed to be here for RTU2 and RTU5. I do got a work order for maintenance on RTU7. We've definitely got 2 leaks in that big unit up there that will eventually cause it to shut down. This maintenance can be performed while 1/2 of it is running, so we don't have to shut the whole unit down. We just got to fix these obviously leaks that have been there for quite a while. Of course, we added the juvenile office to be cleaned by Teresa. She has completed her deep clean in that office, and now she just is maintaining it like she does the other offices. So it is all up and going for them. And Randy worked out a deal with them, so they pay the county for that. Randy Rowe's your radio air conditioner room, or room for the air, it is up and running. There was a leak up there in the refill valve. As soon as we took the cap off, you could just hear it. So we got that fixed, and got the dehumidifier over there to get the moisture out of there. So that's working out okay. My deal with the master gardeners, they are trying to come up with a little plan that we can do just a little bit of landscaping to kind of add some new colors to outside, make it look nice. They don't meet very often, but when they do, they will come up with a plan, and we will work with them to just tidy up outside, replace the greenery by the main entrance. That is past its time, about to, it was probably good 20 years ago, but it is definitely past its time. So once we come up with a few projects for them, we will provide the material and some manpower, but they will give us the recommendations and all the plants and stuff that we can plant here that won't require lots of maintenance, but will make it look nice, welcoming, when people walk on up without spending a fortune. So I think that's a good partnership for them. They're very excited about it. Let's see, I think that's all the notes I had for this morning. Anybody got any questions? Anything I missed?
No, sir.
I will give Mike an attaboy. They got on that radio room immediately, and had he not made the changes and do the things that he did immediately, we could have lost 18 radios, and would have lost 18 radios within 24 hours, because one thing they cannot take is moisture. And he got on it, dried it out, and we did not lose any communication, and we did not lose any equipment. And right now, it's back, dried out, in perfect condition. So that was a big one. That was a big save of money. So thank you, Mike.
Yeah. I did speak, when we went up on the roof this morning.
Yes.
Looked at that and everything, I did speak to my contact on that. Yeah, he said get him the measurements and stuff, and he'll see if he can accommodate us, go from there. Just needs to see what it is, the drawing and measurements, and
I'll get that done.
yeah. So, let me know that, then we'll see if we can move forward with that.
Okay. Yeah, that's another, water issue in the air conditioners. When that rain comes sideways, those big units actually suck that water in. And, they have a little guard there, but you can actually see where the water has ran over it and down into the unit. And of course, then that runs into the building. So, we come up with a little fix for that. That won't restrict any air. But we'll just stop the rain from coming sideways in there. It's just those storms where that wind is blowing very hard and blowing sideways.
At the same time, those units kick on and they have that
Yes.
draw, but they got a hood on them is what it is, and the hood actually does not come down even level with the actual venting area. So the hoods are actually up higher than what the part is, so we're gonna try to extend that down and
A
stop that.
very inexpensive fix, for an ongoing problem. We fixed the exhaust air flaps that are up there. So when they open up, and if they blow too far and that rain's blowing or the wind's blowing, sucks them on up, that will go in there. But we're cabling them down so they will only open so far. And, I experimented that with just some string to see if it would work, and we haven't had no water slip into those, since then. So we're gonna go ahead and move forward with that and put our cables up, so, you know.
So the National Storm Prediction Center has a new term for that type rain. That's now called sidewinder rain.
Sidewinder rain. You know, we had some of that, you know.
A lot of it.
Then we had water come in the front door here when it was blowing that way. I have sealed that, and we tore that all apart and got it. And I did not see any more moisture in there since then, so. I don't believe that was part of, MTI's, deal to do with the windows, on that area. You know, I think they did all the brickwork and all that, which turned out really nice. The cracks that were in the outside of the walls, where moisture was getting in, we eventually crack and break those more. Got all them fixed and sealed up, so the building looks pretty good. I think the guy in charge there did a phenomenal job of cutting out the old and replacing that, and it looks nice. And I haven't found a place that they missed, so just keeping an eye on it. Definitely slowed some of the rain coming up into the bailiff's office up there. Used to have to put a trash can down in there, but we've been fortunate enough to not have to put a trash can down there for the last few rains, so.
It's been a good year to test all that.
Do what?
It's been a good year to test all of this.
Oh,
work.
yes, it has, and a good year to find these leaks. So, we've had plenty of rain.
Okay, any further questions for Mike? Okay, seeing none, Mike, thank you, and again, you're welcome to stay, or if you have work to do, you're
I've got plenty to do.
free to go do that.
On out of here. Guys, have a great day, and
Yeah.
thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Next order of business will be library board appointment, and so what we didn't know last week was that in spite of Joe's diligence in reading the library board bylaws and looking at all the applications, and we had numerous applications and all worthy of consideration, and individuals who would serve the library and the community. So we had a lot of good choices to make. One of the choices we made, an appointment we made, was for one of our elected county officials, Heather Officer. We felt like Heather, being on the foundation board and having a strong interest from childhood into adulthood, had a really keen interest in serving the library. So we appointed Heather, only to find out that Missouri statutes 182.050, it says that within 60 days of this library being established, there's a board of trustees that are selected, and they're residents of the library district, and none of whom shall be elected county officials. I somewhat question how that pertains, but at the same time, the statutes do speak to that. So without seeking any legal counsel on that, I spoke with Heather, and she understands that her name's been withdrawn, and so that leaves us with a vacancy. We had, I believe, 5 or 6 applicants total. I did receive from, and this was prior, but I had received 2 letters of recommendation from the library director. One of those was for Bob Scobie, and we did appoint Bob at last week's meeting. And the other recommendation I had from the library director was for a Miss Kerry Lewis, and I believe Kerry's here this morning. Kerry, would you want to speak to the commission, or?
Sure.
Okay.
I am fairly new to the county. I retired from Kansas City. I worked at the IRS for 36 years. My dad's a Vietnam veteran, but we did travel a lot, and libraries were a very important part of my life. I'm also a member of the Route 66 Society and a board member there after Ramona passed. And Bruce Owen seems to think I'd be a good candidate for the board, so I'm here on his behalf. He'd like me to speak. I spend a lot of time at the library. I'm up there at least 3 times a week for meetings and events and helping Erica, and I love the place. I also love the museum. I have traveled the whole route, and I've gone to 20 or 30 museums, and we have a very, very good free museum that has been visited by every state and 52 countries last year. And we are very proud of that. And it hasn't been kept up over the last 10 years. It has some things that needs to be addressed, and I think by being on the board, I could be effective in that too, and help out in that regard.
So for my recommendation, I will make a recommendation. Kerry had actually applied when we had a vacancy last winter, and we'd appointed, I believe we appointed Bob Scobie to that, to fill that vacancy until this term. So this isn't the first time that Kerry has expressed an interest in this, and she'd sent a letter at that time, which I have. And then I do have the letter dated April 29th from Ms. Cheney, the library director. So it's going to be my recommendation that we appoint Kerry Lewis to the library board. She would serve a full 3-year term, and I would entertain any other considerations, but that would be my recommendation.
I'll second your recommendation.
Yeah, I'll put my form of a motion then, I will nominate, Ms. Kerry Lewis for library clerk appointment. And Erik seconding?
Yep.
Okay, any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, all opposed, same sign. Kerry, congratulations, wish you the best,
Thank you.
and, so,
Thank you. Appreciate it.
thank you for being here this morning, and you're welcome to stay, or if you need to leave, and we'll let Tina know, and,
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Kerry.
thank you.
Have a good day.
Wish you all the best.
Thank you.
At 10 o'clock, if not before, we have, Ms. Carol Barsby from, the Literacy Council, coming back in, maybe with a group, I'm not sure, but as a, I simply labeled it community nonprofit presentation. I don't know whether this is a continuation of the presentation she made previously, but at that, I've recommended that if you had one idea, one project, cause it seemed to be very wide ranging that day as to what the scope of her request was, so, this could be possibly related to that. She has sent me a PowerPoint presentation, I'm sure she'll distribute that. So when she gets here, we'll hear that presentation and see what that's about. So with that, then I'll go to general county business, and then we'll come back to that topic whenever Ms. Barsby gets here. So we are now in general county business.
Had someone reach out to me about the graffiti on Garrett Road Bridge, deck and the sides. And they offered up a fairly sizable donation to clean it up. I reached out to a couple of churches in the area. Haven't really heard much back yet, this is still new. Just kinda waiting to see if somebody out there wants to clean that up and take that donation from that person. If not, curious if we have any resources or if we wanna take that upon ourselves to clean that up.
I think that's a great idea, if you can get a church or something, reach out to them like you've done, that's awesome. See if they're interested in getting that donation.
It sounds like
From an
maybe there's
individual.
some fairly foul stuff on there that, some people are getting tired of, telling their kids what some of the stuff means.
Have you seen, I mean, to the point of
I have
power
not.
wash?
So that's been the main consensus, to see if maybe that could
The power wash
take
on
care
it?
of it, yeah. I didn't know if that, I mean, I know the bridge is Laclede County's, but we did go on an inspection with the state. So I didn't know exactly how all of that fell either,
It's one of our MoDOT bridges.
yeah.
I'm pretty certain, Eric, the liability for that would be on us for whatever that looks like. I would encourage you to keep pursuing it so we can
That's what I'm
get it
gonna
taken
try
care
to
of.
do, so.
I don't know if there's something going around or not. I noticed on the back of our shopping center, we had the graffiti, popped up last week at one of the locations, and then I noticed as I travel, I believe it's Jackson Street up there, of course, this is a different type of graffiti, but It's on top of the old Detroit Tool building there that faces Elm. They went up there and put some graffiti up there, so it's not of the nature yours is. It's,
Yeah.
But, yeah, so, don't know what's going on. We reported it, but we haven't heard anything, so. But we did paint over it already. So, sounds like you're doing your diligence there, and it sounds like you have an individual who'd like to have that taken care of, so, yeah. Anything else, general kind of business?
Just the normal deal still.
Any date on grader 49?
Parts and stuff was in, a week ago. I think he just received them in a week ago, and, he is trying to get that put back together. So I'm thinking, possibility he could have it done by the end of this week, which of course, got the holiday and stuff in there as well. So I haven't reached back out to call him since he gave the initial call that parts were in. He was receiving them daily at that point. He'd got over half of them had come in. They're coming in different times, of course, but, so he was looking pretty optimistic on having it put back in within 2 weeks, so.
It's
yeah.
not as if we need it right now anyway, but I was just curious.
Right, yeah, I mean, with our manpower and times and the way things are falling right now with vacations for some of the guys that, yeah, it could come in use if we had everybody working every day. I think we could still utilize that, on a few projects that needs to be looked at. But right now, yeah, we wouldn't be able to operate the machine.
And, I don't know if we had, we called a, company to take truck 17 to Rush in Jefferson City. I don't know if they got that done yesterday or not,
I
but,
think so,
okay,
I think it was on its way anyway.
okay.
Another one in the shop for air conditioning, tractor probably going somewhere for some air conditioning.
Which one's that?
It may have been 5, I don't,
Five's
I
the
can't
one.
remember.
Five's
had
the
all
ones
the
that broke
hydraulic
down, I
leaks,
think,
yeah.
right now. Five's in the shop.
Yeah,
It
he
still
thinks
is.
he's
Had the
got
DEF deal
most
and the
of
hydraulic leaks.
Hydraulic leaks chased down on that. I can't remember which one needed the air conditioning. Rick tested out the spare one
4?
yesterday. It may have been an, I don't remember. Yeah, I get too many.
Three and 6 is up and going, Lynn and Geyer and then, so yeah, it'd have to be either 4 or 5.
Yeah.
Because I know Guy was using 4 before he got his fixed and back in his, so.
All right. Public comments, items listed on the agenda. None, okay. Let's go to routine business. Linda, you have anything? Nope. Okay.
What?
We have one abstract here from the public administrator. Payroll change form.
And that one, just all the way through needs an effective date.
And at 10:30, it's my understanding we will have a closed session for personnel, so.
That's correct.
What we'll do is, we may recess here in a minute, wait for, the literacy council to come in, and then, we'll take that up, and then may have to recess again until 10:30, but.
As long as we just get our PowerPoint presentation and not a,
I can show it to you.
no, I'm just saying, be all over the ball field.
Okay. Jack, I'll jump ahead, public comments, individuals, for items not listed on the agenda, none, okay. Last week we heard, I'll just bring this up, kind of see where we're at. Last week we heard, from Road and Bridge Mechanic, some items, needed in the shop. Any update on that?
I think it was waiting on, that tech service, tech supply, vendor to come.
And that was for,
Airlines,
okay,
that was the main purpose of that.
okay. So, you know, I went and looked at those hose reels over there and they look like they're in good shape. They look relatively new.
Yeah, I'm not,
But I do think the plan for, maybe modifying those supply lines, was a good
and that's
idea.
where he's at.
Okay, okay. And then I reached out to the company on the, used oil burner furnace that we put in there. It's all, installed except for that one line that would need a, standalone compressor. That one line that wasn't hooked up, was to go to our compressor, and I think it just never had been done because it hadn't been used yet. But probably a standalone compressor over there might be the best thing to do.
I think that'd be a better deal, in my opinion,
Yeah.
Other than having to run it off our big compressor and put another check valve in, just asking for another issue there.
So I think we're in good shape there. And then with the state of the dump trucks, I would, and of course, this is July 1, but as quickly as time passes and the lead times on equipment, we might give some consideration to another dump truck. So I'm gonna plant that seed this morning. Our final, payment, we had a 4-year, we purchased some equipment, 4 years ago. Interest rates were extremely low at that time. I think it was 1.99 or slightly over that. That final payment will be made in September, and that's $138,000-ish, something like that. So I'm gonna sow the seed for discussion that we start thinking about how we might put another dump truck in service. And there may be more pressing needs, but, you know, we're unlikely we'll get all of our rock hauled this year, if we have trucks down and, so I'd like to have some discussion on that. Maybe not today, but maybe at our next meeting or the one after, because I don't know what the lead time, is right now, but I think we may have been fortunate on those two, but, and maybe there's something sitting on a lot somewhere. But equipment wise, I think that's probably the most pressing thing we'll have to consider. We'll have our new brush cutter come in hopefully October, if not before. So
You said it was up in September, the last payment would be in September,
Yes,
and that was on a 4-year deal.
yeah, we purchased 2 dump trucks, maybe that's when we purchased the mini excavator. And also the loader. I think those were probably the 4 items that we purchased.
Said it was 4 on that loan.
Yeah, we, number 17, number 20, the mini excavator, and then the track loader, and a backhoe. So that was, those trucks are 21 models. They've got 100,000 on them. We do have those 2 under warranty for, I'm gonna say powertrain. You know, we don't have some of the, like the alternator had to be replaced, but,
Yeah.
and the payment's 132, 115.04, if it's the same as last year. No, that is what's due this year, 132, 115.
That's what's due in September.
Yes.
Okay.
Are you aware of anything else popped up, anything else comes to mind on that, as far as equipment?
Yeah, I've got a couple items and stuff that I think would be beneficial. One of them, well, actually, both of them will actually end up saving us as far as maintenance, wear and tear and stuff. The other item will save us, I believe, a lot of money, by using it and stuff on pipe, on purchase of pipe and manpower and stuff as well.
So what is that?
That part there would be a jetter, like a jetter trailer or something. Water jetter that helps clean out our culverts and pipes and stuff like that.
You wanna get some information on it?
Yes, sir, I've already started on some of
Okay.
that and starting to draw some of it, I just haven't got it all concluded yet.
Okay.
I'd actually like to, I've just been looking, I've been out on a couple of different, jobs and stuff with some other jetters, talked to some other people in our local area with some. Been out and watched, helped and clean out a pipe or two. Took a pipe that was probably a little better than 3/4 full of rock and gravel, dirt, gummed up with roots, and in 20 minutes it was cleaned out.
Is that, your water source?
Mm-hmm.
Is it contained
It
on
is.
this unit? So
You
it's
can
all
have a self-contained unit of so
self-contained.
many gallons, and then
Okay.
you can also back it up with actually hauling in water from your, like your water truck,
Okay.
you know, so to refill it and go from there if you need more than that.
Okay.
That particular pipe was about the one that we had done 20 minutes or so, was about a 24-foot pipe. It was a 15-inch, and like I said, I mean, it was better than 3/4 plugged up, as far as all the way through the pipe. And that one, it was, I want to say they had 1,000 gallons of water on there, and I think they're only pushing like 2,000 or 2,200 PSI. And like I said, that one was cleaned out within about 20 minutes.
Is that one here in Laclede County?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, special number one's one that actually owns that one.
Okay, good.
So,
Could we rent theirs?
could be a possibility, I guess, but, so, it could be a possibility, but
Or would they demonstrate it again for us?
they would probably demonstrate it again for us if we had another need for that. They actually demonstrated for me on one of their own pipes,
Okay.
and then they actually went out on one of our pipes also.
Okay.
They told me to pick one and let them know, and that's what we'd done,
Okay, good.
and we went out and done that one, cause that was one of the worst ones that I had
Okay.
came up with at that time.
What else do you have in mind?
The other thing I have in mind, it would be a skid loader, skidster, is what it would be. Track machine, for a couple different reasons and stuff like that. Whenever we get into where we're having to redo some of these roads and dumping rock, where we're taking these graders and doing stuff, I believe we can be more efficient and actually get the roads in better shape to start out with when we're laying one in and fixing it properly with a skid machine, other than using our graders and taking them off of their other jobs. Another reason for the skid loader would also be our big saw that we put on our brush cutters. I mean, that's what's causing a lot of your pumps and stuff to go out. What's causing a lot of your joints and breaking those things down are brush cutters, because when that saw's running, it's not balanced like those blades are. And everything, so they've got these things just like the timber jacks that Aspen Tree Service and other tree removal places have. That's the actual boom with the saw blade on the end of it that you can raise up with that skid loader and you can reach and get.
What's the height on that?
That again,
Or
just
reach.
looking in, it just depends on what model you wanna buy.
Okay.
You know, I mean, you can take a skid loader, of course, it's loading dump trucks and stuff, so itself on its own is reaching 15 foot, you know? And then you extend, you put that boom on there, and you can gain another 15 to 20 feet. You know, that way it's out in front of you as well. And you're not sitting right there with it, because the arms, even on our brush cutters, you know, with that big saw, I mean, we're not 8 feet, 6 feet, 8 feet from it when it's up here cutting one. You know, reach one where it needs to reach up at 15, 18 feet. So,
Starting to get the impression that that machine is a little too much for our tractors.
it's still the same machine, it's just a different blade, just a different setup on that machine with the way that goes on there. And without that balance, that's what I'm noticing, every machine that's been on, we end up with pump issues, seals, leaks, breaking, all the machines that big saw blade has been on.
So we've put that on multiple machines then?
I think that it's been on 2 different machines,
Okay.
and we've had some issues with that.
Okay.
So we get one pump and stuff rebuilt from there, so now basically we put it on, can't remember which one guys is on, and it happens almost every time after he gets through using it that he ends up having to have seals.
I wasn't aware of that,
hydraulics,
so.
and other issues, so it's just something to look into, something I've been looking at.
Well, again, I think with lead times, it's not too soon to start looking at this stuff. So,
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, but I hadn't thought of the dump truck thing, but you're right, I mean, I do think, especially with the black truck been down for quite a while now. We've got what I call the short truck, the single axle truck that's there as well. I hear it's got some issues, and, you know, if you're limited to one piece of equipment that only one guy can use, then I don't think that that's the right piece of equipment to be owning, or we need to train everybody else how to use that piece of equipment. If we don't have multiple guys being able to use our equipment, then if that guy's gone or something happens, then we can't use that equipment to its extent either. So we got a couple other items there, but that other dump truck or 2 more would be a good idea to have there. So we can have multiple guys that can drive a standard up dump truck, you know, without having special issues for, I guess just call it a junker, basically. So.
Now, Eric, did you say there was a backhoe down? Or no, or was it Matt that was telling me?
Yeah, cylinder, so it's not down.
Okay.
But there's a cylinder that needs
Okay.
fixed attention.
Okay.
We spoke of that, I guess it's leaking considerable amount. I'll reach out to him today to see.
As far as we know, the mini excavator's working, okay.
As far as we know.
Okay. All right, well, that's good information, so,
That would be a strong component for the skid steer.
Okay.
Those things are just too handy to.
we looked at that 2 years ago, I believe, and probably didn't do that because of budget, because there was probably something else that we may have done, don't recall, but we'd looked at skid steer before, so. I would be curious on the blade attachment though, how that is different than maybe a brush cutter as far as reach. One of the concerns that we run into is we can just reach so far, and we were hoping that we could get up higher because some of these roads with farm equipment and some of the guys that haul boats that live out in the county. so,
or tractors, or,
yeah.
and what is the footage, I mean, 20 foot?
You know, Eric, I don't have a number in mind. We were hoping with this one blade attachment that we could get up a sufficient height.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any update on Atlanta? Has anybody reached out to you on Atlanta?
No, I have not heard anything.
There's one of the blade attachments and stuff there, coming off the front of the skid steer, you can see the boom pole, and you have all the reach of your skid steer as well. Yeah, I'll get that one right there. Good picture of it there.
Looks good.
So, I got asked about Atlanta and fence and everything there this past weekend. I just told him no comment. Said I haven't seen it, so I can't comment on it.
We're just to put up a temporary fence there.
Right.
Is that what we've done?
I don't know.
Don't know.
I haven't been out there.
Okay.
That's what.
And it wasn't us, I don't think, that did that.
No, we had the,
KCI.
we had the change order from KCI that was approved, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I think they was more poking than meaning anything from it. Is what I really think. I was getting a little ribbon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wasn't Eric, was it?
No, not this time. But he does like to leave me voicemails and stuff every once in a while as a concerned citizen.
All right, I need to take a little recess, refill my coffee cup, and,
Recess till 10?
yeah, or we'll keep an eye on,
If she comes in.